Welcome back to Three Koi Fishes. I'm Joy. This is part 3, the final chapter of our conversation with Raj. In part 1, we explored the earliest signs of autism Raj noticed in his son and the therapies and communication strategies that built their foundation. In part 2, we went deeper, school systems, IEPs, and the long-term financial planning that most families don't start early enough. Now, in this final part, Raj gets honest about something that doesn't always make it into these conversations. The emotional weight of this journey. The behaviors that tested his patience and his marriage. The safety fears that kept him up at night. The ongoing question of what happens to my son when I'm no longer here. And the milestones. The small, quiet victories that most people would walk right past, but that filled Raj with more pride than anything else in his life. This is the part of the story most parents carry alone. Let's get back to the final section of this interview. Could you talk about how raising an autistic child is a significant responsibility that can place additional strain on a marriage or partnership? How did you both manage that as a couple?
As you say, bringing up a child is definitely a big responsibility, and even under the most normal circumstances, because most of us, we try to do our best, and there is no kind of guidebook or certificate for that. It becomes especially difficult when you have an autistic child, and this child is having tantrums that you can't figure out why he's upset. The parents start having a little bit of argument with each other from time to time, like, is he hungry? Did you give him dinner? What happened? And it takes a while before you really understand that, this is not really anybody's fault, but it's a condition that, sometimes there's no good reason why he's having a meltdown. So it can put a lot of stress and tension on the couple, because you're faced with a challenging situation, and there's everything else going on in your life, probably because most people find out about this when they are in the middle of their life, and when the kids are still quite young. There's a lot of other pressures going on, whether it's work, finance, rest of the family. So it's important to at least step back. Hopefully there is one person in the couple who is a little bit more calm and considerate, and can review the situation and then try to understand what's happening, and maybe review a little bit in a more logical way what's going on. And I think it's really important to also take a break. So maybe make time for both of you to get respite from have a babysitter or someone, if they are experienced in this looking after special needs kids, that you can take some time to yourself, or individually take a little bit of time off. I know sometimes it can be a very challenging day for the person looking after this child, and they need to get half an hour of just calm to get their thoughts together, recharge their battery. So I think it's really, really important that you're aware that this kind of situation will put extra stress. And once you're aware of it, you're better placed to face it. The other thing is, of course, as a parent, both parents, me, my wife, we love our child. He's the center of our world. And while we have maybe different ideas from time to time on, how we should cope with that situation, ultimately, we really have the same aim. That also helps to understand that our target we have what we're trying to do is the ultimate objective is to do the best for your child, and that really helps try and kind of communicate better.
Are there special babysitter service available?
So there are services available, and I think it's like, even for a normal child, it's like finding a good babysitter. Once you get one, you hang on to them. It's even more so with her special needs child, because there's so much involved in their kind of peculiarities and understanding them. And we have over the years been there have been good kind of caregivers and not so good. But we've been fortunate that we've had people that once we find someone who resonates well with our child, he enjoys and looks forward to seeing them. We try to work with them as long as possible. Now people will move, they will, that things will change in their lives. So you need to be ready to adapt. But yes, it's really important to have, 2 or 3 people that you can rely on, so that, they can help you out, because, you happen to be out of town, or, you need some help, then they are there and you can call on them to help you take care of your child.
What were your biggest concern after the diagnosis?
Yeah, when we first found out about the diagnosis, I didn't really understand the full impact of what it really meant. My wife, I think, was, she was more really aware and understood the implications, how life changing they were. To be honest, it took me probably a long time, as much as 2 or 3 years, to understand that this was not just something that we could help him, with appropriate therapy, with extra support, and then he would be mainstreaming like the rest of his peers. It took a while to understand that no, he was going to be needing support. Even today, he's a grown adult, but he's like a child. We have to make sure that there's always someone with him, and for his safety, to make sure, if there's a fire, he wouldn't know that he has to evacuate, or if he's crossing a road, we've tried to teach him how to cross, look both ways and so on, but it's still not sure that he will do it, when it's safe to do so. So that was kind of the big concern, like, how will, what will happen as he grows up, and what kind of support will he need. And this remains still the concern for us, because today we are still around him and we are there to help him. But what happens afterwards? And what kind of support system do we need to have to make sure that he can live a full life, but he still is secure and safe, and it demands a lot to. It's actually a full-time job just taking care of him, and a lot of parents and caregivers do that. They do that for young kids with disabilities. They do that for older parents. It's the same over here.
Are you concerned about long-term future?
The long-term future for our son it's a big concern, and I'm not sure that we fully worked through it as yet. One thing is, of course, you try to save up and have a fund that will eventually financially be there to support in the future if needed. You hope that the rest of the family will also come together once you're gone to keep an eye and make sure that he's well looked after. There are there are homes which are here in California. The kind of support we have for people with special needs, they're no longer institutions, they're in the community. So there are kind of homes with 5 or 6 individuals, and there will be care or support staff looking after them. But you still want to make sure that there's someone from the family who goes over there and helps maximize what they're doing day to day, maybe spend weekends, vacations, etc. So it's a process. We haven't really, as I say, figured out the full answer, but that's our main priority going forward.
With all these concerns and the emotional toll they can take, what do you do to maintain a sense of normalcy for your family?
So we still do things that normal families would do. Go out, take vacations, car trips, things like that. So we do that. We have to be careful, mindful of what we what we do as a family, because my son doesn't really support well going into a cinema, or even when we go things like mundane things like shopping. If it's too long, he's fine, coming with you for 10-15 minutes, but he won't be kind of doing that for 2 hours. So you modify your activities like that. But one thing that we found, because someone always needs to be keeping an eye on him, we also do activities separate from each other, me and my wife. One of us will be looking after our son, the other person will be getting together with their friends, or whatever activities or interests they have, and vice versa. So unfortunately, what this means is, if one of us is traveling, we have to make sure that the other person is at home, So we have to coordinate travel schedule. And also, as I say, just everyone needs a break. I think this is really important, that you do have other activities and other interests, and other friends, that you can take some time out for yourself and do other things. And both me and my wife, we do that. We spend time together, but also do things separately while the other person is looking after our son.
Could you discuss the most challenging behaviors and phases you encountered as he grew older?
Yeah, I think we had several phases where it was really quite difficult. Earlier on, it was just behaviors where he would have meltdown or tantrums, a lot of self-injurious behaviors. So, when he couldn't communicate what he wanted or when he was upset. Also, autistic kids have what they call need for a sensory diet. So they will very often, just to get the sensation, like tap themselves on the nose, on the head, bite, a lot of different self-injurious behaviors. And our son had fair amount of those himself. And part of it is kind of understanding, why are you doing this? But telling them to stop doesn't always work. What you need to do is replace the worst of the self-injurious behaviors with an acceptable alternative. So, there are kind of therapeutic things like, if he's biting his hand and so on, you can get, this plastic chewies that can help take that agitation out. It's like people shaking their legs and so on. They have a sensory diet which can't be met easily by they need to have something to get that stimulation. And understanding that is important, to try and figure out what we can propose as an alternative that doesn't kind of hurt themselves as much. So that's really important. And as he was growing, every time there was a different phase. I think when he became a teenager and as he grew physically bigger, there was a phase when he was kind of when he was young, if he had a tantrum, we could kind of he's still small enough that we could kind of physically at least control him, stop him from running away. As he got bigger, he has a lot of strength, and there it becomes even more critical that you have good communication and he has trust with you, that he actually does things which are really for safety, like, you can't cross the road right now, you really have to stay with me, things like that. Also, I think we had in the house for a while quite challenging behaviors that we spoke with his on the medical side, and they can also prescribe you certain medication so that the obsessive compulsive behavior, okay, it can take the edge off or calm them. So that's personally, we are a little bit kind of, he's on medication, but we were kind of a little bit hesitant to just go and do that, because there can be side effects from the medication as well. But that will be a very useful thing depending on your son or daughter's condition, to have appropriate medication to help stabilize their moods and mood swings. Uh, what helped us get through it? It was difficult, and I think just knowing that whether it is from I mean, they can do really crazy things. Like our son once swallowed some thumbtacks, and you can actually see in the X-ray. So normal child would not do that. But you find out, that this mania to want to kind of put anything in their mouth, and of course, you try to secure your household and make it safe, and have less of that around, so that there's less risk. But yeah, he would go through phases, and another thing I think that can be also quite challenging is more than the average population, a good percentage of autistic kids also are affected by seizures or epilepsy. Our son is, and that's a big concern for us as well. How do you deal with that? Because they will not subject themselves to having electrodes on their head for any length of time. So it's hard to diagnose some of these things and cope with that. But you find solutions, talking to other parents, and reading up about this from resources or online. and you try it out, see what works, and hopefully you find something that will be a good fit for your child.
What achievement or milestone surprised you the most?
So my son's got a lot of different aspects to him. So while his autism and limitations are very much present, as I mentioned earlier, he understands a lot more than he lets on when he's, speaks back to you. One of the biggest kind of joys was for me when he learned how to, for example, ride his bike. So, like any other kid, he started out with a tricycle, and over time, we managed to teach him how to ride the bike. He learned how to skate, and he's really very, very good at it. I mean, I don't know how to skate, but we paired him up with someone who was into skating, and now he goes every Saturday, has got a lot of physical ability. So, those kind of achievements, which in the beginning looked like he'll never, I mean, I remember trying to teach him how to rock back and forth on a swing, and he just didn't get it. It took several months before he figured it out. And once he figured it out, you could see him having this like really huge swings and, big happy face. And that really feels like an achievement. So it's something very simple, but when you see them like initially not kind of really understanding it, but then you persevere, you don't give up, and eventually they get it, then there is real joy and satisfaction, especially when you see that he's enjoying it. So right now I go out on a bike ride with him, and every so often we are on the straight and he'll try to race with me, and you can see like he's looking towards me and see if I can catch up. That's great. Now he can't bike on his own. We have, someone has to be with him because he doesn't have all the safety notions, but he enjoys it. So I think there's a lot of things that he does. I mean, he loves doing puzzles. He can spend an hour in the evening doing 200 plus piece puzzles. And, when he's done, then he'll kind of put his hand out so we can say, great job, or something like that. So it's tiny things in life, but, still they feel like accomplishments to us. And, that's very, very satisfying, rewarding.
What are you and your wife most proud of?
I think maybe proud is not the word, but we really, I mean, our son is the center of our attention. When he's happy, then, as I say, he really makes it known, and everyone around him, he really lights up the room. And that is what we are happy about. He's a center of our life. And when we can understand and communicate with him. And now as he's grown older, for the most part, we've figured out that he needs a structured routine. If you're going to be doing something different, give him a little bit of advance notice. So, once you understand the techniques that work to minimize, the frustration in his life, and you try to pick up on his, what he wants to do, and he has his own ideas as well. The other day, his mom had set out some clothes for him, and he wanted to wear a different trouser. He took that away, took another one. So, he tried to, just like any other person, he has his own preferences, and we try to respect that when we can, if it doesn't involve, like safety and things like that. But on the whole, he's great.
What is the most important message you want to share with other parents?
I think autistic individuals have a hard time really communicating. And the condition is one where they don't always see, they can't put themselves in your shoes. So, they can't see that you might have some other problems as well. So I think you need to be mindful that, they don't wake up in the morning saying, I'm going to have a tantrum or ruin someone's day. So once you understand that, they also have something fundamental which may be bothering them, and trying to get to that, you're going to be able to solve the problem quicker. So look for other clues in their behavior, not just verbal communication, and then try to organize or structure the day. By this, I mean, have a broad routine. Don't get too much into a habit, because I mentioned bike rides before, but I try to do a different route, because they can very quickly get into the same pattern, and then they will have a tantrum if you change that pattern. So you make tiny changes, and that helps them kind of be ready for those changes. I think communication is key, and trying to understand the condition and what causes it, and then trying to adapt to to that is going to bring a more success in coping with that situation. What I like to say is having an autistic child is, of course, very challenging, but we've learned so much from him. Like all this struggles we've had in the past, he's really taught us, to be better humans, a better version of ourselves. And when he's, next to you, when he's happy, when we see that, the approach we are taking is working, he's a great individual. He is a center of our attention. He's a happy, active, vibrant. He adds to our life. And me and my wife, we really are fortunate. We are blessed that we have him as our son. His sister, she loves him to bits. And I think it's that, family connection that has helped us overcome all these hurdles and, basically optimize and enjoy and make the most of our life.
Raj, thank you so much for joining us and for your incredible openness in sharing the realities and insights of raising an autistic child. The daily dedication it takes to maintain normalcy through consistent routines, clear communication, and intentional family time provides a vital roadmap for other families. By grounding each day in these small but significant habits, you show others how to create a stable environment where every family member can thrive, despite the unpredictable nature of the journey. Your story reminds us that while the path may be challenging, no parent has to walk it alone. To our viewers, we hope Raj's story offered you both comfort and practical insight today. If you found this conversation helpful, please share your own experiences or questions in the comments below. We'd love to keep this supportive community growing. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more resources from 3 Koi Fishes. We'll see you in the next video.